Well, I think it's recording. Hi, everyone. I think this is such a privilege for us to come to you from South Africa, from cold, from cold SA. As you can see, we've got scarves and jackets, and it's winter here, and we are missing the Ugandan sun and the Ugandan weather. So we're sending a big shout out to you. It is Thursday evening, and we're shooting a quick video to get the laws of growth started. So I hope that you're excited as we are, because I think we're going to get like all of the very best coaches giving you their advice. And so we are kicking off the session, Tony and I. So just to introduce ourselves, my name is Elaine Jacob.
Hello, my name is Tony. For those who don't know me, I was in Uganda also. I'm sure you haven't seen me because I didn't come to your training. But back in here, I miss you guys and looking forward to see you again. But let's go for it.
Yes. So for those of you who don't know, Tony and I are husband and wife. Yay! And so we get to do this. We get to do this kickoff session together. So you get the two of us, the two crazy ones. And so the very first word that John uses in the book of the 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth, which is what we're going to be studying for the next 10 weeks. The very opening line, which is what I love the most, he says, potential. Potential is one of the most wonderful words in the dictionary.
Absolutely.
He says it's one of the most beautiful words. It's a word that excites us, and I'm just going to quickly read. It's a word that makes us look forward with optimism. It's filled with hope. It promises success, and it implies fulfillment. It hints at greatness, and potential speaks to possibilities. And so I think when we look at growth, we look at potential. But many times in life, we don't know if we're actually fulfilling our potential, because what does unfulfilled potential look like? Many times, it's only when we get later to our years and say like, oh, maybe I didn't actually fulfill my potential. And so we're looking at this program now and asking the difficult questions now, because this is the time for us to look at whether we're utilizing our full potential. Hey?
Absolutely. Sometimes we all have potential, but sometimes we don't even know it. Sometimes somebody had to come and tell us that the potential that was in us.
Absolutely.
Yes. I remember some times ago, someone was telling me, the first time that, by the way, I'm an athlete, and someone told me that I have a potential. And I didn't understand at that time, what do you mean, like by potential? But I'll tell you about it later on.
And so when Tony says he's an athlete, I mean, Tony is like a runner. He is probably, we call him our podium runner. He's our podium runner. He ran an ultramarathon now in June, 89 kilometers, like crazy, I know.
90 to be exact.
90 to be exact. Okay, the one makes a big difference. And he trained for almost a year to actually do that effectively, finish it within 8 hours.
Yes.
8 hours. So potential in that space. I don't think all of us have the potential to run.
Yeah.
Not me.
When I think of it now, when he said potential is, when I start, I did like 5 kilometers. 5 kilometers, and it was tough. It wasn't easy, even though it was 5 kilometers. But when they say potential is, like there's a potential within to do more, basically. I know sometimes we don't see it. Also, those potential, it doesn't come out easily unless you put those necessary measurements in place. And basically, when I've done 90 kilometers later on, it never happened. But with all the exercise and the effort and dedication that I put in place, become a reality. So I understand what the potential he meant that time.
Very nice. One of the things that John also says in the introduction, he says, your growth is as unique as you are. And many times in life, we want to grow like each other. We want to, you see, like Tony's the podium runner, Elaine is not. Maybe I could run, I don't know, but our potential is as unique as we are. So is our growth. Our growth is as unique as we are. And so what we're going to do during the next 10 weeks is basically challenge you to grow, to reach your potential, your individual unique potential. And I hope that you get excited. I hope that there's something within you that starts to actually well up, because to be honest, it is probably one of the most amazing programs that I've ever done myself. And the part that I love about doing this is I get to teach this and train this, and every time I do it, I learn and I grow, and so this is all about learning and growing. And so we really pray and hope that this kicks off your growth. So the very first law in the book is called the Law of Intentionality, and that law says growth doesn't just happen. Absolutely. We have to be intentional. And John has a very good question that he asked in the book, right?
Yes.
Which is?
Basically, he said, do you have a plan for your potential to grow?
Personal growth.
Yes.
All right. Do you have a plan to grow your potential? Absolutely. Okay, very nice. Yeah. I like that. And I remember John was asked this question, and he was very young, by a guy called Kurt Kampmeyer. And that was the time John realized that something needed to change. And that is how John got to actually write this book, because this book is his tribute to personal growth, saying, I have learned these principles over the last, 30 years. And he kind of distilled it into one book. There's a statement in the book on the second page in the law of intentionality, which I love. It's the one that I live with, and everyone who ever meets me, I kind of pose this question to them. And it's from As a Man Thinketh, which is James Allen's book, and it's a statement that says people are anxious to improve their circumstances, but they are unwilling to improve themselves. They therefore remain bound. I'll read that again. People are anxious to improve their circumstances, but are unwilling to improve themselves. They therefore remain bound. And I think for me, the most important thing in all of this is we have to improve ourselves. For us to change circumstances around us, the change has to start within us. And I know it, like being in business ourselves, we constantly want our business to grow. We want our businesses to be better. We have these new business ideas that we want to launch out in. And we study everything about business, but nothing changes in the circumstances because we're not growing the one thing we can do effectively, and that's grow ourselves. And so when we look at the laws of growth, we're like, what do I need to do to actually grow me? When I grow me, the circumstances around me change. I mean, from the countless of people that I know that have done this program, changes have happened in their lives that I don't even want to mention here, because if I tell you about it, then you're going to continue this program for the wrong reasons, because you're going to want it for what has happened in their life. But do it to invest in yourself. Do it to grow you. And let's see what happens in the next 6 months. Let's just see it. And we would love to, I think Solutions Africa, as well as the Leadership Academy, we'd love to know what has transpired in your life just because you invested in growth. So that's the very first kind of principle, or not principle, like a thought or insight in the book is, we need to be improving ourselves all the time. And so John talks about these growth gap traps. So he talks about a few growth gap traps, not growth gap traps. Growth gap traps. Yeah, I got it. I got it. So the growth gap trap says, the very first one is the assumption trap. Like, I assume I'll grow, I'll just grow. It's just the way we've been growing as kids into adults. We don't do much. We kind of just eat the right veggies and, drink lots of water and whatever, and we become adults. But when it comes to growing your mind and growing your thinking capacities, we can't just assume that that's going to just grow. We have to be able to invest. We can't automatically grow. If we're automatic in the thinking space and in the mindset space, then chances are we're going to be negatively wired.
Wow, unbelievable. Yeah, it's true. I think that's the biggest challenge that we have. Right now we're sitting here because we want something to happen. We want to learn. Or we want to achieve in life, basically something. So for that reason, we had to do something for the thing that we want in our life. And the statement you make basically earlier, that it's amazing that people are anxious to improve. We all want to improve. We all want to change, but sometimes because we don't put the action that we need to put on that specific things, nothing happens.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the biggest problem is the action part.
Mm-hmm.
That will set us apart from not having what we're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all about being intentional, as the subject is intentional.
Mm-hmm.
We have to put that intention to act,
Mm-hmm.
or the action for intention.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. I agree.
Yeah.
And I think the thing about that is being deliberate.
Absolutely.
Being very
Absolutely.
deliberate and being very set about it.
Mm.
So I think the very first assumption gap John used was the assumption gap. Like, I assume I'll just automatically grow. So that is wrong, right? So number one, we're going to get rid of that. We have to improve ourselves. We have to have a target. We have to have a goal.
Absolutely.
We have to intentionally set out and say, this is what I want to improve.
Mm.
The second one is the knowledge gap. I don't know how to grow.
Mm.
And I think, if we say we don't know how, then we don't have to learn how. But the thing about saying, okay, I don't know how to grow, but I want to invest in learning and growing, is to actually set the attitude to learn and grow.
Mm. Absolutely. I mean, none of us are born knowing everything. So it's all about, as you said, putting the intention to learn. Again, like nothing happened over the night. But every day that intentionally you put for your personal growth by learning or by doing whatever you can to kind of acquire that special skill in order for you to have the growth that you're looking for.
Absolutely.
So that's very important, that the knowledge gap.
Mm-hmm. The third one is the timing gap. It's not the right time to begin. And you know what? This is it. It's never the right time to begin. It's never the right time to start anything. If you want to do it, you're going to say, oh, why not today? Maybe tomorrow is a better time. We are full of excuses as people. We always find a reason why now is not the right time, why we can do better tomorrow. And you know what I found, just being, in the space of personal development and having certain goals for my own life, I realized, when I say it's not the right time now, it never is the right time. Then a year goes by, 2 years. Then I regret not doing something then, saying, why did I wait so long? Why didn't I just start, And so it's not about the timing. I think what we need to do is just get the timing thing out. Just like the right time is right now. What do I need to do it? Do it right now. And John talks about a very nice statement in the book. He calls it the law of diminishing intent. He says, the longer I wait to do something, the greater the odds are that I will never actually do it.
Absolutely.
And I think that is the thing. Most people are like, I don't know, it's not the right time. I don't have the right money. My kids are too little. My kids are too old. I'm too old. I'm too young. I don't know. We're just full of excuses.
I think, as you mentioned earlier, the right time is today, right now, basically.
Yes.
Again, excuses, we have plenty of excuses that we put, and we have the right sometimes to put those excuses. But again, if we want the change in our life, whatever change that we're looking for, the right time is now. It's all about being intentional and allocating that specific time for what you're looking for.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
John says in this part, he says, life lived for tomorrow will always be a day away from being realized. And, just today I had a coaching client that I met with, and she was telling me oh my word, if only I did this thing that I wanted to do in 2015, if only I just did it in 2015, but so many things happened and then I didn't. But now today, Elaine, I am ready. I'm so ready for this journey. It is so amazing to see that intensity in her own eyes. Something, she's just unhappy that she allowed, herself to slip. And so I think what we need to do is to look at what are the things that we really want to do. Just write it down right now. What is it that you want to do? You want to start with it. And the whole thing is about starting, just finding the right time. The other, the number 4 is the mistake gap.
Sure. A mistake is simply another way of doing things.
Yep.
Again, we always learn from the mistake that we do. A lot of time, we don't do things about it because we're afraid of making a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only by, actually, there's a place that I read. Those people who haven't made a mistake, they haven't done anything.
Mm.
So it's okay to make a mistake. It's only when we make a mistake that we learn a different way.
Mm.
We learn that this way doesn't work, so we look for something else.
Mm.
So we shouldn't be afraid to make a mistake. But, as a human being, we see it as a risk or a failure, a mistake. And that's the thing's also one thing that always keep us
absolutely
back.
John says he went to a conference by Robert Schuller who said, what would you attempt to do if you knew you wouldn't fail? What would you attempt to do if you knew you wouldn't fail? And I think sometimes in life we need to just go after goals like that, saying, I'm just going to do it, and I'm going to try. I'm not going to fail. I'm going to learn. Failure is just another way of learning. And so it's looking at the learning. So I like that one. And then number 5 is the perfection gap. I have to find the best way before I start. And I know it, I lived my life in the project management space as a perfectionist. I wanted everything to be lined up. I wanted the stars to align. I wanted every single thing to be lined up. But you know what? Nothing happens, because if we're dotting all the I's and crossing all the T's, then we're wasting time and we're not actually moving forward. So the thing for me about perfection is commit yourself to the process, not perfection. Commit yourself to the process of growth, because it's not going to be perfect, but there's a process of growth that's going to come out.
Absolutely. I remember, when it comes to perfection, the first time we opened our business, there's a lot of things wasn't right. So now it's a matter of, should we begin it or not? I mean, which one will benefit? So even though it wasn't perfect or it wasn't the way we wanted, but we had to do it. But over time, we become good and good and good. And we start to perfect the thing that we do, basically, just only because we start to do it. But if we said, let's get perfect, let's get good at it, let's know everything, there is a chance it will never happen. Yeah,
that's true. Number 6 is the inspiration gap. I don't feel like doing it. And I think many times in life, we just want to feel like doing something before we can actually do it. And I know that the Nike company has a really good motivation for people to just get up and just do it. Just do it. Inspiration is only going to come after you start doing it. If you're going to wait for inspiration to strike you, chances are it's never going to strike. And that means you'll never do it. But it's the discipline that brings inspiration, I think.
Absolutely. On that point, as an athlete, I had to wake up 4 o'clock in the morning, to do all the practice. Sometimes it's so cold, like you don't feel like it.
I don't think Uganda ever gets cold, so you won't feel the cold, but yeah, it's ice cold.
But one of the things, for whatever you do, there is a test that you will be tested, you will be challenged. Life is a challenge all the time, something that you have to prepare in advance. So again, there is a time which I feel like I don't feel like it and I don't exercise the way I should exercise. But I'll have to participate in a big race and I can feel it become more painful and uncomfortable. But the day, like I said, I had to wake up and do it, even though I don't feel like it. But when the big challenge come again, I can see the comforts. I can see the pleasure of doing it. You can feel it in your body. So I know the biggest enemy that we have is a lot of time we say, I don't feel like it. Again, the result will be the same way, basically. Even the result will say, I don't feel like it too.
Absolutely. So yeah, that's an amazing one. So what we need to look at is not motivation and not inspiration, but discipline. That is the key. The key word here is discipline. Are you disciplined enough? Because to be honest, we have a lot of, motivation going around, a lot of inspiration, but all of that fizzles out after 2 or 3 days. It's the discipline that keeps us going. It's the discipline that brings growth. And so we're going to talk a lot about that during this process. There's a law of consistency, which I'm not sure who's doing that one, but that's a tough one for me. It's the bridge, it's the one that makes all the difference, the consistency. The other gap is the comparison gap that John talks about. He says, we keep comparing ourselves to other people, and because of that, we never get on to do anything, because we're like, no, but other people are better than me in this, and I don't think I can do this, and so we get intimidated and we lose security, and and then we stop actually growing because we're comparing ourselves to other people, but we're not looking at how they're investing in growth, right? How they're investing in themselves. And that is the key. The key is for us to continue to invest in ourselves, to keep growing ourselves.
Absolutely.
Number 8 is the expectation gap.
Yes, expectation gap. I thought it would be easier than this.
Yes. And I think most times in life, we think things will be easier than this. And the one thing that I realized is everything is harder than you ever thought. It's like the business, yes, it's a lot harder to do. The growth, yes, it's a lot harder. So in everything you think it's easy, no, it's not. It's hard.
I think a lot of time the idea in our head makes it, all is easy. I can do it overnight, overnight success, those kind of things. But the fact, if it is easy, everybody would have done it. I mean, to be successful, if it is easy, everybody would have been successful. But there's a lot of hard work that you have to put behind the success or behind any achievement that you want to achieve. And sometimes it's not easy. It's uncomfortable. There's a lot of time that you have to spend building those things, basically. But the amazing part is the result is amazing. Like when you see the result, the pain somehow disappears. The amount of time you spend on those things, like you feel is worth it. And
I remember when we went together to the IMC in August 2016.
Yes,
August 2016, we were together there, and John did a whole presentation on this, which I really love. He said, people have uphill goals and dreams, but downhill behaviors. Do you remember that? And I think I'm one of those. I have like these uphill dreams, losing weight, doing all these amazing things, but my behaviors are all downhill behaviors. And I think that is the thing, it's the expectation of like, I just expect I'll wake up one day and I land on top of a mountain. I wake up one day and I landed on the top of Everest. No, never happens. But this is the thing that we need to realize, like, the minute we set the right expectations, we will give ourselves the right amount of work to actually get that thing done. And for me, I find that is so amazing. In this law, John talks about preparation, plus the right attitude, plus opportunity, plus action equals luck.
Absolutely.
And I like that one. I think like the more you grow, the luckier you become. Yeah, that's a good one. The more you grow, the luckier you become.
I think sometimes it's, like in whatever we do, also having those right pace. As you mentioned earlier, sometimes we kind of think we can climb Mount Everest just like that. There's so much activity in our life. Oh, we want to do this business, we want to achieve that, we want to, so many things. And we have that ego within us. Sometimes our pace is too fast than that we can afford, or too slow. It's always nice to understand that the right pace. Sometimes we say we want to go to the gym and we want to go every day and we get bored and quit.
Take on too much too quickly.
Absolutely. So it's all about also understanding to make it more sustainable.
Absolutely.
So you're doing it while you're enjoying it. Otherwise, you can crash also easily before you even achieve what you want to achieve.
Wow. So John gives a few tips in the book on, and I do suggest you get a copy of the book, right? Because this is what we're going to be looking at, and And we're pulling out just nuggets from the book, but what you want to do is get the book and study it as we're going through this. We love it. It's probably one of our most favorite books. But anyway, he says this is how we make the transition into intentional growth. We ask the big questions now. So where do you want to go in life? What is it that you want to do? What direction? What is the furthest path that you can go? Ask those questions now. Many times in life, we're like, how can I do it? The question we ask is, can I do it? John says, no. The question we should be asking is, how can I do it? So this is the time where we need to ask the difficult questions and say, what are the things that I need to be looking at? Am I maximizing my potential? I like that one. Sometimes we realize that the environments that we find ourselves, and we're going to be talking about the laws of environment, like the law of environment, someone who's going to be doing that. But the environment sometimes that we find ourselves in is an environment that is not conducive to growth. It doesn't make you grow. It just, kills the life force within you. And you have to be very brutal about the environment that you're in. So you got to ask those questions now. The number 2 is do it now.
Do it now. One of the things I love in my life is that, which is the Nike. Just do it. Do it now. Like there's so many things we want to do, but we don't have that eagerness to do it now. And I do have a group where we run together. So, again, as we mentioned earlier, there's some of us, we have those excuses, the pain we experience, the challenge that we go through. But even though we go through those experiences, we have a coach that always pushes us. Just do it, regardless of the pain. Just do it now. But it's amazing, like regardless of what you experience in a process, you can do it. But sometimes, you mentioned that environment. You need that enabling environment or conducive environment, basically, even for that to happen. So do it now.
Do it now. And so what we like to do is 50 times when you wake up, say it. Do it now, do it now, do it now, do it now. Count it to 50 times. When you go to bed, do it now, do it now. And so you create that urgency within yourself so that anything that you have to do, that before you sleep, you got to finish it. You got to, we have a lot going on. Tony and I, we have different businesses. We have a 6-year-old who has I don't know how many different activities she's in, just running her schedule is a full-time job. We work with coaches, we've got businesses. And so for us to accomplish everything that we need and for us to be productive and to keep ourselves in peak performance, it's this thing of being urgent, do it now. If I know there's something that I need to do for the day, I won't sleep until that thing is out of my table. I'm happy for it to be on someone else's table, just not mine. Just not mine. If it's on my table, it's troubling me. It's bothering me. It's irritating me because I realize that it's something that I just need to get to. So for me, I just my whole thing is about getting stuff off my table. People need things. I'm sending it off my table. I'm putting it on Tony's table because then it's,
Just imagine the relief that you get or the feeling that you feel after you've done it. There's a lot of time, sometimes, I want to wake up, to go out and run. But there's, our mind, sometimes it has its own mind. So I want to wake up, but, so much excuses, tired, cold, this and that. So I fall asleep. I end up not doing it. But when I wake up, the regret that I get is so frustrating. But sometimes when I get those excuses in my head, one thing I said is just do it now, do it now. So somehow I overpower those noises within me and I end up doing it. And again, the joy you feel is absolutely great.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. And then he talks about facing the fear, the best way to deal with fear is to run straight to fear. You run straight through it. I just think everything you want in life is on the other side of fear. Everything you want is just on the other side of fear. And so You got to make fear your friend. What we say is dance with your fear, like do a waltz with your fear, and just run straight to it. Get it out of the way, because fear is just, an exaggeration. It's not really what it is. And then the final point is change this mindset from accidental growth to intentional growth. And there's a whole lot of things that John picks out. He says, accidental growth says, I'll start tomorrow. Intentional growth says, I'll start today. Accidental growth says, I'll wait for growth to come to me. Intentional growth says, I will take responsibility for my growth. Accidental growth says, I will learn from mistakes. Intentional growth says, I will learn before mistakes. I like that one. Accidental growth depends on good luck. And intentional growth relies on hard work. Okay? You've got it there. Yeah. Accidental growth quits early and often. Intentional growth perseveres long and hard.
Yes, accidental growth, it says, fall into bad habits, and intentional growth, fight for good habits. And accidental growth, it said, talks big, and intentional growth, it said, follow through. Accidental growth, it said, play it safe, and intentional growth, take a risk. And accidental growth said, think like a victim. Intentional said, think like a learner. And accidental growth said, rely on talent. And intentional said, relies on character. And accidental growth said, stops learning after graduation. Wow. Intentional says, never stop growing.
You must never stop growing.
Sure, that's amazing.
Yeah, so I think just to bring that whole thing in, growth doesn't just happen. You have to go after growth. And I think that for us is the most important thing about this entire chapter, is about becoming intentional, knowing that you have to go after growth. And one of the things that I love is saying yes. If you've heard me, if I was at your organization, you've heard me say this, because I live with this. I'm like, it's always a yes unless no is required. And the only reason I say yes for everything, if people say do you want to do this? In my heart, I'm saying, no, I don't. But then my mouth is like, yes, only because it challenges me to grow. It challenges me to be outside of my comfort zone. No keeps me in my comfort zone, and yes challenges me to be outside and kind of stretching and growing, because we need to be stretching and growing. And so this is where we're going to bring it to an end. I am thinking this maybe a little longer, but I hope that we have helped you set the right intentions for growth, as well as for the rest of the 10 weeks. We're so excited for you. We're so excited for everyone. I mean, this is a real treat. This is this is a program that we run, which we charge, we charge dollars. So we charge dollars. And for those of you who got this, as a bonus session, I think well done. Really invest in the learning that comes through here. You got great coaches going to be giving you their hearts and really allow this to be an opportunity that births something within you. And so from our side, I just want to say thank you so much for sticking with us through this, and lots of love to you. I'm not sure if we're doing other laws, Tony and I, but we'd love to.
Absolutely.
I mean, it was cool being we don't get an opportunity always to teach as husband and wife. We don't. As you can see, the talkative one.
Yes.
The talkative one, the quiet one.
And one thing I want to say is basically never stop growing. Sometimes we feel I have it all. And that's when John said, basically, if we're not growing, we're dying.
Absolutely.
So don't
never stop growing. Okay, so lots of love to you. We love you. Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.